once we get that right, which is for me the most important thing, that they have, first of all, respect. The second one is commitment. The third one, passion. Those three ingredients are non-negotiable.
Hello and welcome into the Non-Negotiables podcast. Recording straight after the 5-0 win at Burnley. Big result in a big game. They're all big games now. Start with a lineup, same as against West Ham. I think we were all kind of expecting that. Emil Smith-Rowe did return to the bench. I was hoping we were going to see Tomiyasu on the bench as well, but we didn't. Hopefully that's nothing serious, but I don't think it bodes well, really, with Tommy not making the bench today. He just come back from the Asian Games, and obviously there's still something bothering him there. So just ESR back, no Vieira. He wasn't on the bench either. Hopefully he'll be available in the week at Porto. So yeah, no real surprises there. I think it was as we expected. Game started, and Burnley immediately tried to make it physical, which I was a little bit surprised about because they haven't really been playing like that under Vinks and company. But in the first minute, they tried lumping the ball up in the air, and then Sander Berg goes right through the back of Trossard, which was fair. I mean, it wasn't a foul on Trossard, but he definitely wanted to let him know he was there. And it was interesting that after the first couple of minutes where the ball was kind of ping-ponging a little bit, we get a free kick, and Raya really took his time over it. And I think that was just, a sign to settle down, which we did. And boy, did we settle down quickly, because the move from that free kick ends with the ball breaking for Ødegaard. Brilliant touch. Excellent strike from the edge of the box straight into the bottom corner. Man, what more can you say about Martin Ødegaard? I think before Christmas, most Arsenal fans, at least, were thinking that Declan Rice was probably the front runner for Player of the Year. We were obviously top of the league at that point. I think we have to win the league for one of our players to be Player of the Year. But we were all thinking it was Rice at that point. And I did say on here in one of our pods around Christmas time that for us to win the league, I think Ødegaard has to be the Player of the Year. Right, like he's our most important player going forward. He's the one everything revolves around. If Ødegaard isn't our player of the season, then I don't think we've scored enough goals, basically, is how it works out. And after that Dubai break, he's just been absolutely sensational. He's been on fire. And again, he was wonderful again today. And this goal, he's just got everything, man. He's got those little passes. He never gives the ball away. He knows when to slow the game down. He knows when to turn. He knows when to lay it back. And one more thing he can do, that he strikes from the edge of the box. And this is something Manchester City do very well. We face a lot of low blocks like Manchester City do. And one of the ways that City get around it is De Bruyne in particular likes to shoot from the edge of the box. And what it does, it draws players out because they can't just stay in shape when the ball breaks on the edge of the box. They have to come out, which then leaves the space in behind. And we did see this to great effect later on. But yeah, a wonderful goal by a player just absolutely on fire. Actually, I was talking to Paz and Just during the game, and I said to him that the way Ødegaard is playing right now reminds me so much of Dennis Bergkamp in 97, 98, when he was just absolutely unstoppable. He could do everything. He was scoring sensational goals. He was playing passes that no one else could even see, let alone pull off. And that is the level that Ødegaard is playing at now. I think he's the best player in the country. He's overtaken De Bruyne for me now. And he's just key to everything we do, and we need that to continue. Immediately after, there was a funny moment as the forward skipped past Gabriel down by the touchline out on our left. Gabriel got up, came back, won the tackle, and he celebrated like he'd scored, and there were high fives all round. And I think that speaks volumes about the defence and the way that they are basically viewing everything at the minute. They just don't want to give anything away. We give one shot on target up in each of our last two games, and they were determined to go one better this time. First 20 minutes, really nothing much other than that happened. The wind and the weather was playing a part. It was raining, it was swirling. Burnley were playing a lot of long ball football, which like I said before, has not really been their thing for most of the year, and I think it was almost an effort to slow us down as much as anything else, and they were trying to make the game bitty, and I think for the most part they kind of did that. Although we were never troubled, we really weren't getting it down and playing until then, but we certainly played our way into it. We saw some really good Ben White corner hilarity as well about 25 minutes in. When him and the defender are jostling, and at one point he hid behind William Saliba, which I thought was quite hilarious. But one thing I want to point out here, the defender was wrapping his arms around Ben White and pulling him all over the place. Now, the defender actually got a free kick at one point when White almost backed off and he lost his balance because he was leaning on White. At some point, a referee's going to give that the other way. We are going to get a penalty for that at some point, because you can't not look at the ball, bear hug your man, and just pull him out of the way. And that's exactly what's happening with Ben White. I'm interested to see if we mix it up and use someone else to go and do the block on the keeper, because obviously it's very, very well known that Ben White is our man for doing that. And I do wonder if we do switch that up. But I do think at some point we are going to get a penalty for that, because you just can't do that, and especially not in these days of VAR. Someone at some point is going to say, enough's enough. There's a bear hug there. He's being dragged to the ground. That's a penalty. The pressure was building. We'd really started to get our foot on the ball at that point and started to play around. And eventually, the penalty comes. We knew it was a possibility. We were in their box all the time, and you could just feel they were on the edge a little bit. Now, Ødegaard with a brilliant pass. Trossard takes it on, and the guy comes out of nowhere with a jumping tackle. And I don't think he got much of Trossard, but he got enough of Trossard. And it was just a ridiculous tackle. Like, he was nowhere near the ball. He was never going to get it. It was such an obvious penalty. It was clear as day. And as soon as you look around and you see Ødegaard holding the ball, you know Saka's going to take it, because that's what we do. And Saka takes it and dispatches it in the bottom corner. Last 2 weeks, Saka's taken 2 really, really good penalties. I was never a huge fan of Saka as penalty taker before. He's obviously missed a couple of high-profile ones, but that wasn't the problem for me. And he's got immense bottle. You know, even at that age, he's never scared to have the ball, and he's not scared to take these penalties, regardless of when he misses. And you know, he exercised a demon at the London Free Stadium last weekend, and it was a brilliant penalty again today. The keeper went the right way. He couldn't have done any more than he did. But it wasn't enough. He couldn't keep it out. It was a really, really phenomenal penalty, I thought. He's obviously been working on that, and kudos to him for that, because it's a key part of the game. We do get a reasonable amount of penalties because we're attacking a lot. So it's important to have someone who sticks them away like that. I did wonder if Ødegaard was going to take it. There's been a little bit of a theme this season where Ødegaard has taken the penalties away from home and Saka at home. Obviously, that wasn't the case last week. And Saka was obviously feeling it today. The only bad spot on the first half, Saka picking up a stupid booking right on half time, and I thought he was a little bit unlucky. You know, he heard the whistle and he knew that the game was dead, and he tried to shoot anyway. And you can't really argue with bookings like that, but I did think it was a bit overzealous, that officiating. I didn't think it needed to be a booking at that point. We're going into half time. We're 2-0 up. Is it really necessary to book him for that? But he did, and hopefully that won't come back to bite us at any point. You know, if he misses a game through accumulation of bookings, we're going to look back on that and go, man, you know, if he just hadn't have done that. But that was the only downside really to that half, though. I thought we were very good. We weren't excellent by any means. We weren't as good as we were last week, but we were comfortable. We were always in control, and you never really felt like there was any way back for Burnley in this. You know, I said yesterday there's no easy games in the Premier League, or they say there's no easy games in the Premier League, but really there should be. And this was an easy game. Like it was never in doubt. And 1 minute after half time, Ødegaard with an absolutely sensational pass, perfect weight inside the defender. Saka goes inside, cuts back outside, right foot, lash it into the roof of the net. It was very reminiscent of his goal against Leeds last year. Absolutely superb finish, and he's absolutely on fire at the minute, Bukayo Saka. And again, this is what we need from him. We need these goals. We need him to get to 20 this season, and he's well on the way. And I just, you know, I always think Saka's got this in him. I can't count the amount of times I said I think he should be a 25 to 30 goal a season, Premier League goal a season player. That's how good he is. He has to be our version of Mo Salah. And you're seeing that he can do it. He absolutely can do it. And at this age, I think at this age, Mo Salah had played 12 league games in 12 league games in Egypt. Like, it's immense the way he is. He's ahead of Cristiano Ronaldo at this age in goals and assists. Like, that's the level I think where Saka can get to. That's where he needs to be looking at. He's not just another piece. He needs to be our main man. Between him and Ødegaard, we've got 2 potential Ballon d'Or winners in this squad. They both need to be on top form for us to get where we need to get. We're chasing some sensational teams, and we absolutely need them. And if they keep playing like this, there is every chance we can get where we need to get to. Just after, there was a bad injury for Aaron Ramsey. We've heard that before, but it wasn't that one this time. It's the one that Burnley got from Villa. And I actually like Aaron Ramsey. I think he's a really good player. And I hope that this isn't as bad as it looked. It was a nothing tackle from Ødegaard. It wasn't even a foul. But his knee, it looked like, I don't know if his foot got caught in the ground, twisted or what, but his knee just collapsed. And it looked a bad one. Hopefully it's not, but it did look like it. And the game was stopped for a while, and you're kind of thinking, our momentum's going to get stopped, and hopefully it doesn't affect Ødegaard too badly. And we picked it up quite well after that, but faults with Aaron Ramsey, I hope that's not as serious as it looked. I hope he's back soon, because it really didn't look good. When the game restarted, we kind of picked up from where we left off. We missed 2 chances in quick succession. Trossard, both times he dragged one wide, hit one high and wide. And then on 65 minutes, the 4th goal comes. It was obvious that it was coming once again. It's Ødegaard with a brilliant pass out to the left to find Kivior, who's bombing forward. Kivior cuts it back. It wasn't his best cut back. I think he was actually trying to get it to Saka, and it was behind him. But it made its way through to Havertz. Havertz couldn't really get it under control. It squirmed out to Trossard, and Trossard bends it in the bottom corner of his left foot. I think Trossard is having a brilliant run. I thought he had a pretty poor start to the season. I don't think he was very impressive. I think this through the middle role up top is his best role. I think he's fine on the left. I think he's terrible as a left 8. Like, I don't think that should ever be tried again. But I think he's fine coming off the left. But I think this role is his best role. He's just unfortunate in that obviously we've got Gabriel Jesus. Kai Havertz can play there as well, and in the summer we're probably going to be looking for someone else to play that role in a slightly different way. But for right now, Trossard is playing some sensational football. He really is playing well. And it was interesting that immediately after that goal, the triple sub comes. It's Saka, White and Trossard for Nelson and Nketiah and Cedric. Now, we got a big game in a week, and these subs were nothing to do with the players coming on and all about the players coming off. Saka was on a hat-trick. Don't care. Get off. We've got a big game in a week. We've got big games coming up. We need you for. Saka didn't even look too bothered by it. He knew what the deal was. Off he comes. Ben White. Tomiyasu didn't make the bench. That was disappointing. We've got no cover at fullback. He obviously can't come back in and play. We don't want to be starting Cedric. So Ben White, off you go. Get yourself wrapped in some cotton wool. And Trossard. And I think that the Trossard one is interesting because he could quite easily have taken off Ødegaard for Smith Rowe or Ødegaard for Eddie and dropped Trossard back. He could have taken off Martinelli, moved Trossard wide and played Eddie up top. He had options, and it was Trossard that he chose to remove. I think that speaks volumes about how he's seeing Trossard at the moment. I think Trossard's important to this team while Jesus is out, and that sub just shows you how Arteta's thinking about him. I know Arteta goes through spells of kind of seemingly not wanting to play him, or he only comes off the bench, and I do still think that he's a magnificent weapon off the bench for us. But right now, he's needed up front, and he's playing very, very well. And I think those subs, that confirms it. Just after Eddie comes on, he had a decent chance. Martinelli skimmed his man down the left-hand side, put in a brilliant cross. Eddie headed it down just wide. We were still knocking on the door, 4-0 up, and we're still going for it. And then comes the 5th goal. I want to give a special bit of praise to Jakub Kivior here, because Kivior has not had the greatest start to his Arsenal career. I think he was, up until before New Year, before we went to Dubai, I thought he was done. I mean, I thought he was so poor in those games on a run up to Christmas or the run up to New Year. I honestly thought he was done. He looked so out of place. At West Ham, he was very good. I thought he had a poor start to the game, but he grew into it and then was pretty comfortable. And today, I thought he was excellent. I thought he was very good. He's quick thinking from the throw. He's like the complete opposite of watching Ben White on the other side. Ben White looks like he can never throw the ball to anyone. He takes so long. He's had, I think, 3 bookings for time wasting this season, and it's really not time wasting. It's just that he doesn't seem to be able to throw the ball in play. Well, this time, Kiwior got it, looked up, saw Havertz, and it was a brilliant long throw. And Havertz went, and off he goes, and Havertz is away. Burnley's defending was poor all day. This was poor as well. Eventually, someone got back on him. He cut inside, nutmegged him, slotted it home. And that's that, 5-0. Jorginho came on for Rice immediately. A couple of minutes later, ESR comes on for Kai. And that was it, job done. Big 3 points, 5 goals means that we've now got the best goal difference in the league. We've come from nowhere to score 11 goals in the last 2 games. And the goal difference could be important. I'm not sure that it will be, but it could be important. But it was a big win, especially after Liverpool got that big win earlier on at Brentford, who like Burnley, were exceptionally poor. And it's tough in these games because obviously West Ham got a lot of stick last week because they were very bad. Burnley today were very bad. But the common thread in these games are that we are also very good. So when you try and weight it on which way is it, I think it's more weighted to the fact that we are a very, very good football team. We've got excellent players and we're playing absolutely brilliantly at the minute. And we fear nobody. And we knew going into today that if we played anywhere near our best, we were going to be far too much for them. And that's the way it turned out. Manchester City are about to play now. I don't watch Manchester City games. I find them boring and I find them annoying. So I don't bother watching them. So I figured I'd come on and talk to you guys real quick. That's about it. I think it was a good day all round, a good day at the office. I'll just give you some quick player ratings. These will probably change come tomorrow when I rewatch the game, because I like to rewatch these games, because when you in the heat of the moment you miss stuff, and when you come out of it afterwards you've kind of forgot a few things. But I thought David Raya had pretty much nothing to do. There wasn't a single shot on target today. There wasn't much in terms of quick distribution because they just weren't in our box very often. So I think Rice, I'll give him a 7 because there was basically no need to give him any more or less than that. Ben White, again, 7, solid, didn't have much to do defensively, looked good going forward when he was needed. Saliba, 7 again. Some really good touches on the ball, some really good turns, good distribution. Gabriel, I think I'll give Gabriel a 7.5. I thought he was excellent in that first half when that Fofana was their biggest threat and Gabriel was taking him, and Gabriel won every single battle against him. Even when it looked like the other guy was going to get the better of him, Gabriel got back in and took it off of Fofana. Thought he was excellent. Kiwior, got to give him a 7.5. He got the assist with the throw on, the cutback. I guess that'll count as it's not really an assist because Kai Havertz kind of got on the end of it before it squirmed away. But excellent from him. Erdegaard, my man of the match again. I'm going to give him an 8.5. I thought he was excellent. Great goal, great assist, superb passing. Another fantastic performance. Rice, 7, all action. Didn't need to do anything spectacular. Kai, 7.5, I think, took his goal very well. I thought the runs that he made were very, very difficult for them to deal with. I don't think they dealt with him very well. Saka, give him an 8, another 2 goals. Excellent play again from Saka, turned up, took the penalty, kept his nerve. Trossard, I think 7.5, scored again, missed a couple of chances, but linked up very well. And Gabriel Martinelli, I'll give him a 7. It was a bit quiet because most of our attacks were going down the other side, a bit like they were last week at West Ham. There was no need to go down the left-hand side because we were tearing them apart down the right. But he did, he had a couple of good moments where he skinned his man and created some chances. So that's that for today. I'll be back again on Monday. We'll go over it after I've had a chance to rewatch and look, and then we will obviously know the City result to see where we stand in the weekend overall. But have a great rest of your weekend. Don't forget to laugh at Tottenham because they get battered everywhere they go, and even when they're at home. So enjoy, and I will speak to you all later. Bye bye.